Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Just a quick video today. I'm going to be showing you the Cyclone 2 by Gamesir. I'm going to tell you about some of the key features, talk about the physicality of the pad, we'll look at some of the features under the hood, and then compare it to a couple of similar pads. This is a wireless and wired controller that connects via Bluetooth, USB cable, or the 2.4 GHz dongle if you have Windows 11. It has an 860 mAh battery and it's compatible with Nintendo Switch, Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. It comes in black with gunmetal accents and white with gold and red accents, which I don't have. It costs £40 to £50 or dollars depending on if you want to get the stand with it. More about that later. Before we get onto the key features of the Cyclone 2, I just want to say thanks to Gamesir for sending this over. I do get to keep the controller, but no money was exchanged for this video. And thanks to you for subscribing. We've gotten the percentage down to 94% now, so it's slowly improving with every video. If you're still on the fence, why not play a game with me? Pick a number from 1 to 16, and if the ruby bead lands on your number, hit the subscribe button. If the silver bead lands on your number, just hit the like button to help send this out to the algorithm. I might do this more than once, so feel free to stick to your number or change it with each round. Let's start with the TMR sticks. Some consider this the next step up from Hall effect sticks, but it uses a different type of magnetic sensing technology, and is supposed to be more sensitive, more accurate, and power efficient compared to Hall effect sticks, which is helpful since the 860 mAh battery initially sounds small compared to other wireless controllers. The resistance is very good. It feels like a comfortable middle ground between the super slick Hall effect sticks and sturdier potentiometer sticks. Gamesir has included their anti-friction rings around the base of these. The physical hair triggers are quite special. I've only ever witnessed these on more expensive controllers, so it's great to see it here on a pad at this price point. When I say the hair triggers are physical, I'm referring to the fact that it stops at a certain point when you pull it. The Gamesir G7HE that I looked at a while back on this channel only had a digital toggle, so the triggers would register instantly, but you had to control your pulls manually. In my opinion, it's much faster to pull and release at a rapid speed when the controller physically stops you from going further. And to activate this mode, we simply have to click this little toggle to the back and the trigger turns into a micro switch. Listen to this. It feels and sounds great and should be very useful for FPS games. Around the back there are two paddles. They have a very low travel and in my opinion they feel better to press at the edge of the paddle. Some people prefer to have 4 of these, some people are okay with 2. The games I play don't really require them, but again, competitive gamers will find the paddles useful for shooters. The face buttons and D-pad feel different from most other controllers because it uses micro switches instead of membrane. The clickiness makes them quite fun to press and they're not necessarily louder than membrane buttons. For example, these sound deeper and more solid than the hollow Series X pad. There's also a gyroscope in this, so it's compatible with Switch games that have the functionality. Finally, I want to advise that potential buyers opt in for the version with the stand. It's made with aluminium and plastic and feels solid but light at the same time. There's a USB-C socket at the back to provide power, a pass-through socket for the wireless dongle, and the grips stop it from sliding around on surfaces. It clicks into place and it's very easy to dock it without fuss. And when docked, it has some useful lights to let you know what's going on. The controller has a mostly smoky transparent finish, so the RGB lights get a chance to shine. Even the solid black face is slightly transparent with a charging indicator effect that I think looks quite cool. The lights on the handles are here and they're visible from the front and back of the controller. At the top there is a slot for the optional but not included phone holder. And unlike the G7HE by Gamesir, the faceplate is not removable, so all of the aesthetic options will come from the RGB. I couldn't get the controller to connect to the Gamesir app on my iPhone, iPad or virtual machine on MacBook, so I've had to borrow a physical Windows laptop to access the Gamesir Connect software. You can cycle through some of the options with hotkeys on the pad, but to access the complete suite of options on the Cyclone 2, you will need a Windows 11 laptop. Please take note of that if you think you will need some of the features you'll see in this section of the video. So first of all, there are 4 profiles on the controller and I would recommend keeping profile 1 untouched so you can always go back to it as a base setting. We can start off by choosing the polling rate from 250Hz, which is already high by the way, to 500Hz or 1000Hz. For the lights, there are 4 different modes to choose from, and within those modes there are additional presets like flow, rainbow and pulse, and we can also play around with the brightness and speed here. The neat little preview in the center shows these changes in real time. And from there we have some robust configuration options for the triggers, the sticks, the buttons and motion. There are plenty of options here, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even understand all of them. Some of it is self-explanatory, but I will click on every section for you to look at, and I welcome you to pause the video if any of it looks interesting. And if it means anything to you, then good. If it makes no sense, then it's probably something you won't use anyway. For this comparison, I'm going to show you an alternative for the Switch and an alternative for Windows. This is the official Nintendo Switch Pro controller. It's very comfortable, feels premium, and it uses membrane hardware, but it's not too loud and in general feels good to use. The grips are a glossy rubber texture, which feels good, but for long sessions and also longevity, I prefer the texture grain on the Cyclone 2. That's of course a subjective thing. They both have a smoky transparency to them in places, but the Switch Pro controller doesn't have any RGB, and it's got a unique body shape and size, where the Cyclone 2 is obviously modelled on the Xbox controller, which is goated when it comes to form factor. It doesn't have any special functions and settings like the hair triggers or dead zone stuff, so it's a solid controller with no fine tuning for competitive players, more of a hardcore casual controller. This is the G7HE, which is a wired option for Windows 11. It's by Gamesir as well, so it's got some cool options under the hood like the dead zone settings on the sticks and a software hair trigger, so you can get these triggers to activate instantly, but unlike the Cyclone 2, there's nothing stopping you from pulling it all the way down. It has 4 rumble motors, 2 on the handles and 2 on the triggers, compared to just 2 handle motors on the Cyclone. The G7HE has a clear advantage when it comes to modding because the faceplate is magnetized, so if you want to swap out the plate or the speed rings around the sticks, that can be done very easily. It feels slightly more premium than the Cyclone 2 in terms of the build, the braided cable and even the packaging experience, but the Cyclone 2 does have the newer TMR sticks, the RGB, wireless functions and the stand. If I had to choose one of these, I would go for the Cyclone 2 because it feels like I'm getting more functionality for my money with this one. If you'd like to see my full video on the G7HE, click on the link popping up right now. So there you have it, that is the Cyclone 2. I think it's a cool controller. I'm not a competitive COD player or anything, but even I can appreciate the TMR sticks, the micro switches, the physical hair trigger and charging stand. It's an extremely good value proposition and will definitely be my daily driver for Mac and Nintendo Switch gaming going forward. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're interested in a Cyclone 2, please use my links below to support the channel. It makes a massive difference. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you joined in on the game earlier. And if you want to see my review for an excellent mobile controller by Gamesir, click on this video.